the idea of this entire class session is for the people who are going to see this, they're going to understand our thought process and what we were looking at the charts, what we were looking for in the charts that made us enter the trade, exit, hold, etc. Right? So we could look at the 15-minute. I know that you're the 15-minute guy, but if I'm looking for a swing, I'm looking at the hourly for a structure break, price action, something like that.
Oh, I don't care. You do you. Come on,
Yeah.
let's go.
Okay. So the first trade that we have here was the NUE swing from Friday. This was what happened on Friday. We had a nice, let me actually maximize this cell so we can know what to focus on. Okay, cool. So check this out here. NUE, we decided to go long on this name for a couple reasons. Coming off of a massive sell-off from 142 all the way down to 104. This was definitely due for some sort of release bounce, a move higher here, at least to retest the hourly 200 EMA somewhere around there, and that's what we saw. So now let's get to the actual reason to enter this trade. So NUE had been selling off and then started moving sideways here in this little price consolidation. You can call this a rectangular consolidation, or a box, whatever you want to call it. So the idea with this price structure is NUE was either gonna break above the box and go higher, or break under the box and go lower. And as you can see, on this very first candle of the day on Friday, you had a very strong move up higher, which broke above that price structure, that nice consolidation, and even came back to retest that level. Also ended up holding the hourly 9 there. So our entry was on the 15-minute chart. We're switching back to that now. 15-minute chart here, right? You can see this is Friday. Nice strong candles above that price structure, came back to retest. My entry wasn't the best entry, right? I kind of grabbed it at the top, 108, around that level. Ended up falling down because of the market. We were seeing some market weakness, at the end of the day on Friday. But what made me stay inside of this trade is the fact that NUE stayed above the 15-minute 50. And if you're in Lucid Edge, you know that that's our swing strategy. You know that we hold any swings as long as they're above that 15-minute 50. So we saw that this purple line. I should probably go over my EMAs here. So I'm gonna do that real quick. This light blue is the 9 EMA. This green is the 20 EMA. This purple one is the 50. This red one is the 200 SMA, and this orange one is the 200 EMA. I like to use both of them. Don't judge me. So, like I said, nice breakout higher above the 50, and so I held it because it stayed above the 50 and it broke that price structure. So now, fast forward to Monday, look at what happened. Now, what told me to stay in this trade on Monday? Very first candle, look at what it did. It came back down to retest that previous day high. And you know that if a stock stays above that previous day high, it's more than likely going to continue higher, right? So we saw that first candle, nice green. We just had a nice continuation up. Now, with this trade, I did end up selling a little bit early on the swing. I sold at around 112 for about 70-80% on the NUE swing, but I saw the strength on it, which told me, okay, this is probably gonna go higher. Let's roll over to different contracts. So I ended up grabbing those 115s, which which ended up being profitable. We bought it at around 112, sold them at around 114. Those ended up going over 100% on the day trade. So overall, in total, we ended up profiting over 180% on 2 contracts on NUE. So that was pretty good. Definitely could have held it longer, but it is what it is, right? You're not gonna catch them all. I want to go right into the next day trade that I took on Monday, right? Because this is in the same conversation as NUE. So I ended up taking CLF on Monday. Now, why CLF, right? CLF is in the same sector as NUE. This is that same materials, right? So seeing the strength of that first candle on CLF above the previous day high, above Friday's high, right? Friday, we saw that strength on that first candle higher. I did enter a little bit late on that second candle, but we ended up writing those contracts from 1426 all the way to the high 1476. Just the same logic as NUE, seeing the strength at the early morning and seeing the continuation of the entire sector having some strength there. So CLF I think went over 70%, but let's check right now.
Sector steel, guys.
Yeah, the sector. Yeah, CLF went over 70% there, so that was a good trade. All right, let's continue on other trades that we took on Monday. I'm gonna let you take this over, Doctor. Your SPY call.
All right. Hey, you pulling up the chart? I'll read it
I
from the
got it.
chart.
Yep. So we're going on
Just
Monday
push buy
here.
on Monday. All right, there you go. As you guys can see, my SPY trade was the second 15-minute candle. The only thing I saw was our Lucid Edge style is basically any ticker that goes over the 15-minute 20 is a short-term uptrend. If you guys want to write that down, note it down. Once again, the EMAs are 9 EMA, super strong momentum, 20 EMA, short-term uptrend, 50 EMA is uptrend defense. So as soon as it held that 20, my entry was the second 15-minute candle, and the only strike that I wanted was the previous day high, which was, what was it, 365. And since it was a 0 day, there is a huge potential if any ticker holds that 15-minute 20 at the beginning of the trade. What happens is the far off strikes are super damn cheap. So we're looking at least a profitable trade of about 500%. And as soon as SPY did that, we added a 367 call, which is slightly above the previous day high. And as you can see, we held it all along. Now, the important thing to notice is 0 days lose their value quick. They also gain their value quick. So from our entry, right up to the point where you see that 15-minute red candle, we were up about 265%, I believe. And then we came down all the way down to 130%. That means we lost more than half the value. But since it was a day trade which held over the 9 and the 20, we held it all the way to the top. And my cut for any day trade is 15 minutes before the market closes. So it's going to be the second last candle of the day. The contracts went up to 1,105%. So that was a great day trade. Once again, you need to have confidence in your EMA entry, and they just don't lie. You don't need back tests. It's just the way it works. This is our SPY 0 day trade.
Very nice. All right, that's what we got for Monday. Now, moving on to Tuesday. Let's see what trades we took. Nephew, if you want to take this over on your NVIDIA trade.
Which one was it, the call?
That was, I'm looking at the fills right now. NVIDIA 133 call, 10-7. Just quickly
You
explain
said
it. Yeah.
what day?
On Monday? Oh, no, Tuesday.
On Tuesday.
Yeah.
Wait, my charts are being weird.
We'll cut all this, don't worry. And then we'll just get to you talking.
Alright, Tuesday the 4th, right?
Yes.
Alright. So when we opened, I saw Nvidia right off the 9. Nice candle with some nice volume, and it was showing some bullish momentum on all three of my MACDs. And we broke above a price level I have at 130.20. And we opened above PDH as well, which is right there, has me set on calls. So I entered, and I forget what contracts peaked at, but I sold off right near 133, like below 132-ish. So it
Got
was
you.
just fairly quick trade, $2 move
Hmm.
in and out.
Yeah, and then, just to add on, right? You had a bullish bias, seeing as
Yep,
how that first candle was green, nice strength. Nvidia opened above the previous day high, so immediately your thought is, okay, this buyers want to take this higher.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly, and buy it off of the 9. Strong momentum to the upside. Perfect, beautiful there. Let's continue. The next trade was Win Resorts was a call that I alerted.
Big boy,
Here we go.
big boy,
This is a
big boy.
very, very nice trade. Um, so Tuesday here. Um, just exactly what I was saying just now with that Nvidia trade. Opened above that previous day high from Monday. You can see how nice bullish strength off of the first candle, off of the 9 EMA, on win here, 15-minute chart. My entry, because I did see this a little late, it was around 67 and a half, maybe 67.8, somewhere around there, but I definitely caught it on that first or second candle there, and we were seeing the casinos running, right? So if they're buying that casino sector, they just want to take all of these higher. We took it from that second candle. It didn't even want to touch the 9 EMA. That's extreme strength there, right? So boom, rode this higher. It kept going. I did end up securing some at 69 and a half, around 69.5, because the contracts did go in the money. We were up about 70-80% on those contracts there, but I did end up holding a few of those more until we ended up reaching 100% on those, which I then exited all of my position there, uh, which was somewhere around 70.5, somewhere around there. But you can see just ultimate strength on this. This is a beautiful, just ride the 9 EMA kind of trade, right? Of course, if we had swung this because it was staying above the 15-minute 50, you could have taken this all the way to 74. But hindsight is 2020. Uh, beautiful trade for on Tuesday. All right. And that's pretty much all we got for the day trades on Tuesday. I think we had a couple swings here on Tuesday. Okay, here, beautiful. Cat. Cat was a great trade, Doctor.
Hmm.
This was on Tuesday.
Yes, sir. So, oh yeah, do I start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, Cat, same thing. Just as when I saw some strength in Caterpillar, I love the way the contracts move. I also love the ticker, the company, blah blah blah. Same shit over here. First candle over the 15. I was lucky enough to see this candle right away, so I alerted it pretty fairly quickly. First candle entry, I think we entered about midway through this candle, and we took our profit at the peak of that shooting star, 15-minute shooting star. You see that small ass candle over there?
At the end of the day
That
or
is
here?
no, right over there. Towards the end of the day, it went a little bit higher. We had some runners on it. But that shooting star itself gave us about 110%. And towards the end of the day, once again, it was called out as a swing, but we got enough profit. So we sold 15 minutes before the market close, which is the second last candle of the day. We ended up with about 160%.
Yes. Yeah, and those were some cheap contracts too. Caterpillar moved very nice for us there.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So enough talking about wins. Let's get into some losers. All right, NEM on Tuesday. This is the first loser of the week. Let's talk about why this trade went wrong. Let's go over. I think it was here. Yeah, okay. So here we go. Tuesday. So
Who called this one? Who
that was
called this one?
me. That was me. Here was my
Okay.
logic with NEM. So the entire reasoning for wanting to take NEM higher was where was Tuesday? We were seeing the dollar come down lower. Here we go. So here we are on Tuesday. Let me clean this up a little bit. Okay. Yeah, here we are on Tuesday, just seeing a very strong move down on the dollar. Had a gap down as well. Um, in hindsight, of course, definitely should have taken this trade a little bit earlier in the day, seeing the dollar's weakness. But the idea is the dollar going down, gold will see a move up, right? So let's get into the technicals of this. So boom, I believe I called it. I even called it out a little late too. I called it out around 44.5. The strike price was 45.5 on that. This ended up going to 45.24. But the idea, once again, this uh, opened up above previous day high. It did come back to test it. As you can see here on that very first red candle, that very first 15-minute candle there. It did come down, it retested, it held. Next candle was green, bullish engulfing. Next candle took it higher. So this was giving me a nice indication that this wanted to continue. It was above the 9, above the 20, above the 50. But it just ended up selling off, in the middle of the day there. The dollar regained some strength. These they went to like 25% or something in the positive, but then ended up coming down there. So that was a losing trade. Luckily, we went light on those because there were just better trades to play. So we didn't really go heavy on this one. So that's that. At the same time, we also alerted some Nvidias on Tuesday. Now, this was a nice play on Tuesday because it was a YOLO. So with this trade, we didn't really care what it did the next 2 days. We just wanted to see some sort of strong push higher along with SPY. The logic on Nvidia on a swing was this name has just been completely beat down. SPY was seeing some sort of reversal higher. It was seeing a kind of it was seeing some buyer step up. So we wanted to target Nvidia for a nice push higher. The strike price was 140 on this. We called it on Tuesday. I believe we called it at 130-ish or so. The contracts were going for, I think, 40 cents a pop. Let me check. 32 cents a pop they were going. So very cheap. We held it all the way even through the sell-off on Wednesday. I think they even went down 60%, 70% maybe. But boom, as you know it, they came back up that same day on Wednesday. I even decided to average down on them and brought my average to 28 or so. Let me check. Yeah, I brought it down to 28. Then on Thursday is when it actually paid off for us. Nvidia ripped higher to 136.5, so those ended up going over 240%. So that was definitely a nice hold, a nice YOLO there. Now, the logic between for the hold is just they were very cheap. Nvidia was beat down and the market was recovering. This was not a A+ setup by any means, but as you can see, it ended up working for you. You put a little bit of money in, you have an idea, and you stick to it. And then you see what happens. So that ended up working out for us nicely. That is all we have for Tuesday. We can get into Wednesday now. We have a couple more trades here. So we're back here on Wednesday. Let's see what kind of trades we had here. Wednesday in the morning, you alerted an
Big
AMD
banger.
put, doctor.
Hmm.
Let's see here. Okay, AMD.
Ryan just left. Mm-hmm. All right. Anyway, so let's go. AMD first candle ripped to the downside. I was lucky enough to see the entire sector going down. So what we did was it lost a 9 at the first candle. We took it 2 minutes into open. We took a 64 put. I think we ended up going to about 200%, and then it reversed through a hammer. Now, hammer or kind of a bullish engulfing candle, if you want to see that. That was our cut. That was an AMD play. We did not reverse on that because that's not particularly our style. Would have paid a lot more, but we did end up taking end phase. Omar, can you pull up end phase? This I would call as our biggest trade alerted on voice. Lucid Edge voice trades are fantastic. So what we looked at here was the oil was super strong because of OPEC production cuts, which in turn translates to renewable energy coming down, which is the catalyst. So when we looked at end phase, this was an incredible strong momentum to the downside, losing a hell lot of all the EMAs. First candle was losing almost all the EMAs, so we alerted this on voice. We took 270, 260, 250 puts. End phase is a quick mover, short float, or a small float if you want to call it. The thing moves really fast. Contracts ended up going ballistic. I believe we hit about 600% or 700% on this trade. Our cut was essentially not at the bottom, but it was two candles before that hammer. If you see the next candle, Omar. Yeah, right there. We cut it over there. Not because it's our perfect exit. Our perfect exit is reclaiming the 9 EMA, but we did end up cutting over there for a hefty percentage gain because it was a 6x trade. Um, this is possibly one of the most incredible setups that you will ever see. And once you see these kind of setups, you don't bat an eye, you just take it. So this was the big banger of Wednesday.
Very well said, doctor.
Mm-hmm.
All right, continuing on with our Wednesday trades. I alerted a quick little downside play on QQQ in the morning. So seeing some weakness from the pre-market, seeing that move lower on the Qs under the previous day's low in the pre-market, you know, 30 minutes before open gave an indication that, all right, this is definitely seeing some weakness here. My entry could have been better for sure. I could have taken it off of the 20 or the 9, but seeing how we were getting a nice mixed reaction in a bunch of different stocks, this could have just ended up being a chop sideways action. But I was leaning downside, so I was waiting for confirmation. I was waiting for Qs to end up closing under the 200 EMA, which that first 15-minute candle did. So I decided to go short there, 277.97. Let's call it 278. We're under PDL. We're under the 50, under the 9, under the 200 now. It bounced up, rejected the 15-minute 9, ended up coming down lower. We took profits at the very low here, 276. 275.3. Those contracts went to about 60-70% there at the peak. So that was just a nice little quick trade before the market reversed higher there. Wednesday was just one of those days. Had to be quick in and out with your trades. I believe I also took another trade on Wednesday. Yeah, I did. I took another trade on Wednesday. And this was this Home Depot trade. Now, let's see. Alright, this one was not an A plus either because it was seemingly in no man's land. at the time that I grabbed, I was looking at it, but just Home Depot is a very strong name. And like I said, on Wednesday, we had that move down in the market and then a nice reversal higher, which ended up just cranking higher. So what I was waiting for on Home Depot was a break of the 15-minute 50. Ended up doing that around 11:45, 12 Eastern. We took that. We took a long at around 289. Uh, our target, since it was above the 15-minute 50, we wanted to take this higher to the previous day's high at 291. This, Home Depot ended up doing it. Contracts went okay, 30% to 50% at the peak. So nothing too crazy there. It was an okay trade. Yeah, I would classify this as a C trade. Definitely not an A plus, but we ended up taking that. Ended up making some money on that. Oh, nephew, I see you got a Nvidia put here
Yep.
on Wednesday. I'll let you take this over.
All right. So on Wednesday morning, that first 15-minute candle came flying through PDL. But the thing where I messed up on was my momentum wasn't showing bear yet.
Hmm.
The bull momentum was slowing down, but it wasn't bear. And as well as on the Qs, I had a level at 275.86, and we never got a 15-minute candle close below that. Below that should have been my entry for puts. And I just rushed everything, and then from 275.86, we reversed and just ripped.
Yep. Right, and then this is what I was saying when I was referring to my QQQ put. We were seeing some mixed moves and mixed reactions in the market, like Nvidia as well. Semiconductors are heavy in the Qs, so just not a good, uh, not the best setup for
Yeah, not at all.
downside.
EMAs
Yeah,
weren't lined up either.
exactly, exactly.
I
So
just I was just rushing things that day.
right, so there we go. I think you cut that for a loss. Just it's fine. Take a loss, move on. Um, all right, let us continue here. Did we have any swings? Let me check. This is on Wednesday.
Oh, we also had a 0 day SPY trade on that day.
Oh, 385 call. Oh yeah, go ahead and explain that.
Hmm. So SPY reclaimed the 9 EMA at around 12:15 or 12 o'clock Eastern, and I saw that real quick, and I was like, okay, SPY might actually try to move upside over here, so we took a 385 call. It's pretty far off because I was expecting it to move higher the next day. However, towards the end of the day, SPY started moving up with high volume, and we ended up securing 125% on this trade. Um, same analysis over here, over the 9. Take it towards the end of the day, cut it 15 to 20 minutes before the market closed, so this was 125% trade.
Yep, yes sir.
Mm-hmm. All right.
We had another one though. You had a snap call.
Oh yes, I had a snap call, guys. 11. We actually took a huge swing on this, like 14 call, October 21st, trying to play the earnings, which, however, ended up to be a loss on Friday. We took it as a swing. It showed incredible strength towards the end of the day. It also ended up showing a lot of strength the next day. That's on Thursday. However, on Friday, we had to cut it for a 40% loss because the market decided to trash itself when the job report was good. So that was the losing trade.
Yes sir. All right. Mm, so there we go. We're on Thursday. Um,
That should be my Tesla and Snow.
yep. All right, let's go.
All right, so here was just another day where I was just being impatient on Tesla. I didn't have any sign of bullish momentum, and the EMAs weren't lined up. Also, if you go over to the Qs, you can see we never got a 15-minute candle close above PDH. So I should have waited for the Qs to get above PDH to look for any calls.
Yep, that's right. Just
And then,
yeah, no confirmation there.
yep, none at all. And then same
So
thing with snow. Market just turned,
we're doing
and
Thursday now.
Thursday.
yeah,
Mhm. Are you done with the snow?
yep, pretty much the same thing that happened with Tesla.
All
I
right,
was just
so I
rushing entries,
had.
wasn't being patient.
All right, so the other trades that we took on Thursday were the three Chinese EVs. NIO, LIX, PEV. I saw the entire sector being incredibly weak, and we grabbed NIO, LI, and XPEV on the second candle of the day. My perfect trade was LI, which I grabbed on the second candle. I believe we got a 21 put on LI. Now, usually what happens is that if a sector is weak, all the tickers in the same sector are going to fall. So we also took NIO 15 put, and we also took XPEV 10 put. These ended up being big bangers. LI went to 300%, NIO went to 100%, and XPEV was rather slow. It went to about 60%. So this was a great trade. Analysis is the same. We lost the 9 EMA. We lost almost all the EMAs on LI, and the same thing happened on NIO and XPEV. We took it down all the way till the ticker started trading flat. Once the ticker trades flat, it's always best to take your profit from the options because they will not move and lose value from theta. So this was a great trade on all three of them.
Right, LI was just picture perfect. From the very first candle, it lost the 200, the 50, the 9, the 20. It even tested PDL. Very next candle, sliced right through PDL. Immediately you know that this has some strong bearish momentum lower. This wants to continue down, so that was just a beautiful trade there. Everything lined up for it. Beautiful. So there we go.
Right,
Meta
it's on
put.
you guys.
Meta put.
Yep, the meta put. All right, so once I saw the Qs reject PDH, I saw Meta was rejecting the 200 EMA. So I grabbed some puts on this as well as momentum showing bearish. I got in this and I took it down to 136.6 and then I sold when it made that 15-minute inverse hammer.
Yeah, real choppy day on Thursday. Like
Yeah,
not
Thursday was
many
wacky.
not many great opportunities. Obviously the best ones were LI and IO, those Chinese EVs, because the sector was getting hammered. But otherwise, Thursday was really, really choppy. But we can move on there. All right, we're on Friday now. Friday. We'll kick it off with you, Doctor.
I didn't do anything on Friday.
You did a
All
lot.
right. I alerted an Oxy call on Friday.
Yeah, just go over your calls.
Um, all right, so Oxy call on Friday was because the first candle was over the 9. We also ripped over the previous day high. However, I didn't take into account the extreme weakness on SPY. My analysis was complete bias, complete failed trade. It was extremely horrible. I expected SPY to fall down and go up higher just because we had FOMC next week, which is incredibly bad. We are focusing on 0 days. I should have taken into account the same day. However, Oxy did end up going to about 60%. However, the next candle took off all our profits and we ended up going minus 60%. Luckily, we ended up getting a very light play on this, but it was a failed trade. In an ideal scenario, if SPY was bullish, Oxy would have gone bonkers, but you live and you learn, you take your losses and move on.
Absolutely. And like you said again, just wanna reiterate that point. It's a Friday. You always want to just put money that you're willing to lose 80%, 90%, 100% even, because there are extremely high risk, extremely high reward. So keep that in mind when you're trading Fridays. Next up was ABT. What were you seeing here?
All right, so ABT had a catalyst of some sort. I don't remember what the catalyst was. However, ABT went up to about 40%, but yet again, I did not take into account the presence of the 500 EMA on ABT, which I think Omar doesn't have. Do you?
No, I don't have it on my TOS.
All right, so the 500 EMA was the extreme resistance for ABT, which it tapped and it just died.
Yeah,
So, yet again, ideal scenario, this would have continued. However, you live and you learn, same shit.
that's right. All
Mhm.
right. I alerted the Netflix put over
Beauty, beauty,
here.
beauty.
So the first Netflix put was over here. I saw how Netflix, well, just overall, I've been watching Netflix for a potential move lower. We've seen it a couple times. This is the hourly chart on Netflix. We've seen it a couple times how it's in a little range, but it can't go up without the market. That's just exactly what it's been doing. Anytime that it loses that hourly 200, it goes way lower there. So that was my idea here. Once again, when it lost that hourly 200, boom, and then again lost it here as well. So let's go into our 15-minute chart. We can see that already off the bat, we had SPY, QQQ bearish. We had that bearish news. Then Netflix under the 50, under the 200, the 20, under the 9. The the entry point was boom, right when Netflix ended up with a nice 15-minute candle close under the previous day low. You can see that here. Boom, previous day low, first 15-minute candle closed right under that. So we ended up taking a nice short from there. We took it from 233 or 234, yeah, 234, all the way down to 231. Those Netflix contracts went to about 60% at the peak there, and because they were at a right at the open play, this bounce kind of took off. Maybe it took it back to 20%, 10% gain there. So we already took our profits at the time that that bounce happened. But let me just go right into the next point in which I alerted Netflix was the best entry. It was right at the 15-minute 9 rejection, and combine that with the retest of the previous day low. You have those two strong levels there with a nice rejection, two upper wick candles rejecting the 9. You know this is going to come down lower. I took it here at that red candle. Boom, saw that there was nowhere else for this to go. You just ride the 9 on this type of trade. So we took it here, ended up going way lower. My target was 230, so that was when around that time was when I hit 100% on those Netflix shorts. But if I could have held all the way down, like to all the way down until that second to last 15-minute candle of the day, those contracts went over 400, 500%. So once again, one of those you live and you learn trades. So we have Nvidia next.
My video.
Yeah.
All right. So like Omar was saying, Friday we had that bearish news on the market, and the thing that got me interested in semis was AMD came out after market close on Thursday and said that they cut revenue. So I took Nvidia as sympathy.
Hmm.
The first 15-minute candle of the day, price came up to PDL and got slapped down, and that's where I entered. All EMAs were lined up. I had bearish momentum. I rushed my entry a bit and got stuck in some sideways action, but once the market really started to break down, this thing came down right with it.
Yes, sir. Exactly. I mean, definitely in hindsight, the best trade was AMD. We could have
Yep.
just taken that way lower. Like, and there was no reason why Nvidia should have consolidated that way. It should have fallen as well, but that's just the price action we got. It is what it
Yeah.
is. To continue our
Should I do that
Friday.
Tesla?
Oh yeah, go for that. Yes, sir. Forgot about that.
Alright. So same thing. Friday. Test opened up below PDL. All EMAs were lined up to the downside. As well as bearish minimum MACD. There was some nice volume on the first 15-minute candle to the downside. I entered and I just rode this thing, and the contracts went 300+%.
Where was your exit? Which candle?
Um, I exited a little bit early.
Mm-hmm.
I exited around 2:25.9.
Yep.
0 DTE. I was just getting my profit and running with it.
Yep. Exactly. And another point, you're never gonna catch the entire move. That's the ideal scenario. But if you can catch most of the move, most of the time, you're gonna be profitable.
Yeah.
Exactly. So beautiful trade, right? Just simple concepts, guys. Very, very simple concepts applied to different charts, and you end up making money each time. It's beautiful here. Let's continue. Amazon though, this was a intraday trade. It was not from the open, but you immediately could tell that this was going to continue lower, under all EMAs, under previous day low, gap down. First two candles went way lower, but you did have a nice bearish pennant forming here intraday. I believe my entry was 115.7, somewhere around that. But the reason why I even entered Amazon was seeing how FedEx, they lowered their guidance again. Well, not specifically their guidance, but they lowered some type of revenue, some type of fourth quarter numbers there, which ended up catching another big sell-off here, similar to how they sold off hugely back over here when they decided to lower their guidance before their earnings came out. So seeing that, my mind immediately went to Amazon. It's going to definitely be affected by that. So this was actually a very quick trade, seeing as how the contracts intraday were not moving that much. I took a 115 put on Amazon. I think right here or something, somewhere 116, 115.7. We took that down to 115.1. So that was only a 20-minute trade. It did end up going lower, but like I said again, it was an intraday trade. So the contracts barely even moved up from my exit. So I didn't really care to quote unquote exit early. So there's that.
So real quick, I
Yeah.
have a question over here. You took FedEx. When did you see the FedEx news?
So right when FedEx, let me show you, right on the red candle on FedEx, right here.
So, just for future reference for everybody and also for Omar over here, if you're seeing FedEx as lowered guidance, the number one ticket that you should look at instead of Amazon, Amazon's great too, but you should be looking at UPS.
Very good point.
I want you to take a look at UPS chart right now, which was the absolute banger on Friday.
I will say though, it definitely would have been hard to catch this. It was a 15-minute bear flag, yes. However,
Mhm.
that move. Let me go to the 5-minute. Yeah, that move
Yeah,
happened in two candles. It would have definitely been tough to catch that.
fair enough. Okay. Just for future reference, guys, I mean, sector trading involves looking at the tickers that are in the same sector. FedEx is a shipping company, UPS is as well.
Hmm.
So when you see something like that, you got to see the other one. And Amazon, definitely not a bad idea, of course, because Amazon is going to use shipping services as
Hmm.
well. But that's how you think fundamentally,
Yes, sir.
if you guys want to know.